Well, I want to give you the latest and greatest. I peruse a lot of different stories on the internet besides, not just looking at the alternative media because the alternative media is constantly telling you the sky's falling. But when the major media tells you the same type of thing, I take note. So anyway, but sometimes I know Trump's been talking about Donald Trump. He's been talking about make America great again. You know, actually, if we brought back the generations past of people that lived in the United States, the mental toughness, the physical stamina, the fortitude, the honesty, the morals, actually a lot more morals way back when, and just brought all that back today. If those people were back here today, a lot of things would be straightened out. We can fix things on our own. There's no doubt about that. Now, actually, I'm going to drop a dime on a separate subject in this video because I know a lot of people are interested about something in health, about some of these devices I talk about, and I try to really filter out what's the best deals. I'm going to throw it in this video. It's not a commercial or nothing, but I put my name in for it for when it should be here soon. Well, you'll see what it is in a second. But anyway, the economy basically, well, let me cut right to the chase. It looks like the major media is even saying that Janet Yellen's very tiny Federal Reserve rate hike was a mistake. It kind of looks like it that on the surface, and maybe that's discouraging spending in some ways, or maybe not. Actually, would you believe it that a lot of people this Christmas actually bought weapons? I actually put a video out about, what to really buy, Dad. It was politically incorrect. I had like a box of ammo, an axe to cut wood for the fireplace or something, kind of stuff. Actually, that wasn't really a weapon per se, but a crossbow for if you have a rabid raccoon and you're rummaging through your backyard. But anyway, actually, that's what a lot of people did. I guess there's a fear out there. There is a fear, even amongst the people that aren't into this type of stuff. Like, I don't really push this doom and gloom stuff too much on here because I think it's counterproductive. Everybody's in a constant state of fear. Yeah, you don't need that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Come on. I'll tell you what's going on, but come on. We don't need to be freaking getting crazy about the deal. But hopefully everybody got some good stuff from Santa. Here's Santa on her little motor scooter, bringing a bunch of toys and stuff. So, if that would be the real good Santa, I would like that type of stuff. But anyway, here's the thing I was going to tell you about real quick. Unrelated to silver, totally unrelated, not a commercial. I got several of these devices, and I don't freaking work for these people or not. But that's the Spooky Central plasma machine. I know a lot of my listeners that listen to the silver stuff that are also looking at the health videos I put out. They only got the first 100 users are going to the people that have the most serious diseases, and this thing is supposed to be really on par with the real McCoy. So, maybe it'll really work, So, just going to tell you that I put my name in an email. I don't know whenever it gets available in more mass quantities. It will eventually. So, just want to mention that here in this video. So no, I'm not going to put a separate video out on this and say, Spooky Central's here or something. It's almost here. So, that's what it looks like, okay? For you people who are wondering about that, I was wondering about it too. I just happened to look and said, hey, there it is. So anyway, have a great Christmas and stuff. I know it's the day after Christmas, December 26th. Now, this rate hike thing, I don't push the doom and gloom buttons too much. I kind of tell you some stuff, and I don't really, want people getting all worked up. This is not one of these, I'm not one of these guys that you better listen to me, and we're all fighting them together. Yeah, I know. This crap's been going on since humanity's been around, all right? It's nothing new, okay? The world isn't going to change overnight. So that's one thing. Not to say stick your head in the sand and ignore it, but then again, don't get freaked out about all this crap. Just enjoy your Christmas and stuff. And, if the America actually collapsed, say, for instance, like all these people are talking about, to me, what could really get worse could be happen? We can go back to maybe the old Indian waves, like the way the Cherokee Indians used to live and all that, whatever, or the Seminole Indians. And life wasn't really that bad. Instead of maybe having horses, we might be riding Indian motorcycles or something, right? The Iron Horse. But really, I mean, it's not going to be, as terrible as you think in a lot of ways. But I know a lot of people feed off this doom and gloom stuff, like the two ladies here say, let's go to the cemetery because it's spooky. We want to hear a thrill. So I know a lot of times, doom and gloom sells because it's the same way. It's a horror story sells or a murder mystery, right? So, but not all of this stuff plays out. Actually, I don't even know if this didn't play out. I'm going to get on to more about the Federal Reserve rate hike, but just to kind of put things in perspective about this whole deal, the way this thing is. I know most people are holding silver coins or doing it as a hedge against a catastrophic economic collapse. And actually I think that's going to come about at some time. Hate to say it, but probably will. But remember I was talking about the 4 blood moons, and I said, well, we're already past the 4th blood moon. But then again, whatever had happened, maybe something did happen, and we haven't seen the effects of it yet, too. Only Mr. Obama might know, right? He's the freaking freak up there in the White House. He knows what's going on. So maybe something is in the works already. The 4th blood moon passed. It looks like the sky didn't fall yet. But then again, maybe something got into motion that it is going to happen. But the Fed rate hikes, the major media is also talking now that it was a mistake. So I found that interesting. The alternative media always tells you the sky's falling, the dollar's going to collapse in 3 months, the end is going to start happening in 2 or 3 months. They always say that. I've been sick of that garbage. I know there's some truth to what they're saying, and I don't know when the timetable's going to hit exactly, but the major media is talking that the Fed rate hike, as small as it was, is a mistake. Now, the other thing that could really affect is the housing industry, even though it was a small rate hike. The housing industry looks pretty good in some ways because you're looking at, the houses are selling, the prices are going up, and blah, blah, blah. Then it looks like it's recovering very slowly. But in reality, the housing industry is not recovering due to, like, regular mom-and-pop families buying houses. It's due to, like, big companies buying houses. And, like, for instance, like BlackRock, they're like the largest real estate holders in the world today, right? And what's going on is there's actually an increase of rentals. So, yeah, somebody owns a house, but most people that are like regular, average, more common people, more of those are renters versus homeowners. So if the industry is doing better because the corporations are buying up the houses and renting them back to the general public. Now, what the rate hike can do, though, is really slow down the housing market, which isn't really doing that great. It's doing good in commercial sectors in large cities, but what the rate hike can do is actually slow down the market in the housing industry. And, somebody will argue with me, but, this is not even like complicated stuff when I'm going to say this one little phrase. Real estate and its corollary industries are almost 50% of the entire U.S. economy. And, sometimes I get in arguments with people like they're good, and, it's not even like, that's not because that's like 101 freaking real estate. That's like an axiom. That's not something I made up. That's not off a conspiracy site. That is something that is well known. When you start taking into fact not just what goes on in the building industry, but all the things with like maintenance and subcontractors and, I don't know, I guess even taxation, utilities, and the impact on the roads and stuff, whereby, they have to build more roads, sewage facilities, put in more electric lines, internet services. It affects the economy in a million different ways. And even when a transaction occurs in the real estate market, there's like closing agents, attorneys that are specializing in closings. There's bank mortgages. And the banks actually, the banking industry, I forget what the hell they hold, but they hold a size, depending on what bank it is, a sizable proportion of their portfolios is in the real estate. So if they raise the interest rates even a titch, like they did, and it already affected the equities markets, and the major media is even talking about the U.S. equity markets are broken. So I mean, we're on Highway 666 here, man. We ain't gonna be going nowhere good. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Yeah, the road is actually on doom and gloom. Um, I don't want to put out doom and gloom, but that's the reality of the situation. Now, since I did put that stuff out about that plasma, I don't have that yet. That other thing I just talked about before, I just noticed it. It says, "Oh wow, it's there," because it always used to say "coming soon." I figured I'd mention in this video because I thought the thing was going to be out like a year ago or something, you know. And he only got a limited number. There's like 100 of them they're going to give out to people that are very sick and see how it works first and all that garbage. But the thing is, actually, you know, what I really hate to say here is that if we have a serious, I think we will, because I think it's all planned. Even at Deagle.com site, when they talk about the U.S. population going down and all this garbage, you know, the GDP going to a tenth by 2025, the military spending going to a tenth, 10% of what it is, the population going from 313 million to 64.9 million by 2025 due to freaking death, starvation, and exodus. And I don't know, man. I hope that shit's wrong, man. If there's a collapse, I just hope it ain't that damn bad. God, I mean, but that was not a conspiracy site that was predicting that. And looking at our debt and the way things are going, maybe it's all planned that way. But the way I look at it is like this. It's like if you get down to basics and you get away from all the superfluous crap that's out there, even like, you know, say for instance, I'm talking to you on, you know, an internet service with, you know, a mic and all this, and actually used electromotive cleaner on the mic jack and seemed to fix that instead of changing the computer. But, you know, I'm using like technology to talk to you right now. But, you know, a lot of people, and actually I use technology to learn things, but a lot of people use technology just to play games and whittle away time. And, you know, that is really part of our problem in our society, because a lot of people are not really doing anything productive when they have all the chance in the world to do something productive. They just won't. And, like, that's really 99% of the freaking problem. So when things go collapse, people like that have never prepped for anything or never done anything. They're going to be SOL. That's the way it goes, baby. And ain't nothing I can do about that shit, and nothing I'm going to do about it. That's to tell you the truth. So, you know, the root of all evil, 666 is coming our way, man. And I think the Illuminati got it planned that way. I mean, the writing's on the wall. You have to be an. I know the doom and gloomers are excessive with the garbage, but you have to be an idiot not to see that we're on the road to freaking collapse in this country. I know Trump is saying make America great again, but I already said many times I got my suspicions about that guy. He's like, actually, he's been telling us a lot of stuff we want to hear. You know, Obama told certain people a lot of stuff they wanted to hear. Hillary tells certain other people the stuff they want to hear. Trump has his crowd that he appeals to, and he tells them stuff they want to hear. How you going to do that, you know? I'm going to tell you, you know, when it comes right down to things, we the people, we delegate the authority to the government and to take care of problems or whatever. That's really kind of how it is. But when the government has a right to do this and the government has a right to do that, they got that power from the people first. Because why? This is a simple logic. Because we had that right first. It's inherent in our being. You know, the right to self-defense, the right to pursuit of happiness, as obviously has been said by the founding fathers. You know, so like, you know, part of the problem is, like, a lot of people just want to elect somebody that will fix all their problems for them. And actually, you know, even though I got my doubts about Trump actually being the real all the, I know he says a lot of things that maybe I like to hear, but I think he's blowing smoke up everybody's wazoo, to tell you the truth. But the thing is, if you really want to fix the problems, fix them. You don't need an elected leader to fix the problem. That's a danger. That's why we actually supposedly have a constitutional republic. When you have a democracy, which is what we supposedly don't have, what people do is they elect a strong leader to fix their problems, and democracies break down into tyrannies. That's why I was saying right from the beginning, if we actually had the older generations here alive today from the turn of the century, talking to like the 19th century and 1800s, they had much stronger character than the people that are around today. And, herein lies the problem. So, people today don't have too much character, man. Crap, even way back when, if people got drunk, they'd still had to work really hard out there in the mine or in a mill or whatever the hell it was. You know what I mean? Today, there's so many people on the government grain dole, it's beyond belief. So when that collapses, though, and I think it will, because not that I think it, because I think it's like, oh, I just think it. Well, it's obvious in the numbers that the debt situation can't continue. And, with the new budget, they're going to be like close to $20 trillion in debt, which is already alleged to be the $24 trillion is the point of no return, alleged to be per a number of experts that aren't alternative media fearmongers or anything. But so we're very close to that already. And, a lot of things can happen. Actually, a lot of times people think the American military could solve the problem. But, if you look back in history, even in World War II, who was the strongest militaries in the world? Not the U.S. military at the beginning of the war. It was actually the Japanese Navy was supreme on the Pacific by far. They had far more carriers. They had far more planes. They had sophisticated equipment. The Germans looked like they were clobbering the hell out of the British. A lot of things can change for the fortune in the United States really quick. And we can get taken over. But the way I look at it is, if that happens, just go. The safest. The only thing I can really tell people, like, if you want to really be safe with this shit, play dumb, go old school, and if shit happens, shit happens. Hillary's president, and I hate to say it, she becomes president. It's to me, it's just another Obama, except it's a blonde bitch. So the world isn't gonna freaking end right away or nothing like that. And the way I look at it is, I'm going to just keep doing my own thing. But this interest rate hike deal I was talking about here somewhat through this video is a major deal. I didn't think, at first I was thinking, I know what the alternative media is going to say about this interest rate hike that the Fed is going to do, right? They're going to say it's the end of the world. And I says, it may not. I didn't think it might. I was thinking initially it wasn't going to do squat because it was such a tiny rate hike. But it did affect the equities markets, and now the major media is putting out stories like the U.S. equity markets are broken, that the U.S. rate hike was a mistake. You're also warning about possible catastrophic downturn. The major media, catastrophic downturns in the markets in January of 2016. You're also warning that it's going to greatly affect the real estate and housing markets, which they're recovering slightly over since 2008, 2009, but not that fast. And like I said, that's actually, somebody will argue with me again, but it is 101, simple. I took a lot of real estate courses just for the hell of it. And they all state that 50% of the entire U.S. economy, directly or indirectly, is dependent upon real estate and its corollary industries. So if you got a rate hike, it will affect your real estate interest somewhat. it's going to affect our economy in a time where I think the economy is all smoke and mirrors. Because I said that before, they were saying the bright spot in the economy before was the fracking shale oil industry. That's where the jobs were coming on the jobs report. And then you know what happened? The oil prices are really low now, and that industry they're laying off workers like crazy. U.S. oil production is actually not really going down. It's actually going up slightly more, but with a hell of a lot less workers, which tells you a lot of shit right there, man. So people, I don't know how the hell that's happening, but they're doing it with a lot less workers. So maybe they're not doing capital investments, but that's telling me. I really don't trust the jobs report numbers. I remember several weeks ago they came out with this jobs report, and equity shot up after the jobs report. I was thinking, that's got to be bullshit. I mean, where's these jobs coming from, man? I mean, the only time before their jobs report was shooting up the numbers was it was mainly in the oil fracking industry. And I know, even though oil production hasn't gone down, even went up slightly, they're laying off workers left and right. So, I mean, I don't get, why the jobs report is rosy. I think everything is fictitious in these markets. So, but the major media seems to be warning us, too. And I take note when the major media warns us, too. I've noticed stuff about the equities markets are broken, the Fed rate hike was a mistake. They also said that the Fed, besides, it affecting the equities, they said it's going to affect the real estate markets. They said to watch out in January. There's going to be problems in the equities likely. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But to me, it looks like, yeah, maybe a lot of the doom and gloom is coming out pretty soon. But, it's like people back 100-something years ago, even if you got a doom and gloom situation and the economy goes to a fraction of what it is, people 100-something years ago had the mental fortitude, physical toughness, the practical know-how to get by on, 2% of what people are today. And so, it's all how you take it in your mind if some shit like this does happen. I hope it doesn't, but I tend to think it is. So, anyway, now, as far as silver going up right away because the Fed rate hike was wrong, I am not 100% sure of this, but Vlad Putin himself was even talking that the oil prices, he expects them to stay low for a long period of time. I personally think they're keeping oil prices are low to break Russia because Russia's not playing ball with the Western New World Order. And that's their main cash cow, oil and commodities, right? That's partly it. But I also don't see. I know it's a fact. I mean, I could say it another way. Besides, I don't see. I also know for a fact that you can't have high productivity and low demand on commodities, and say to you, and have high productivity and high strong economy, and have a low demand on commodities, which makes for a low commodity price. So, the stock market basically smoke and mirrors, and maybe it is set for serious readjustment. What it really boils down to is probably some of the stuff that some of the alternative media we're talking about. It's like the elite are probably going to lose control. The elite in the West are probably going to lose control. Of course, they'll use anything they can to bring back control to them, but they might be trying to keep the dollar stronger forever. I don't know, but I think that they might be just totally losing control over the situation. There's only so much you can do with manipulation of computers and having web bots trading back and forth to each other. I think the underlying economy stinks, to tell you the truth. But like I said, we could fix it very quickly just by rolling up our sleeves and going to like cottage industry, small businesses, just even growing your own garden. For crying out loud, I mean, save you a lot of bucks. And maybe even just taking charge of your own health. Maybe that spooky device might be a really great thing. We'll find out. Supposedly they're going to bring that device. It's just not some damn commercial, so don't go thinking I am. I have nothing to do with these people. I'm just some end user. But supposedly you're going to bring this device out to like 100 people that are seriously ill. Well, because they don't have too many of them. So if it fixes all these seriously ill people, or most of them, then we'll know the damn thing works pretty damn good, right? And so, like, that's another problem that, people are overwhelmed with healthcare costs. If something like this works, this is supposedly, like, very close to the original Rife machine. Yeah, maybe, like I said, there's, like, for everything that's going wrong, there's something that's going right, too. So no matter what's going on that's wrong, don't always concentrate on the doom and gloom. I know people just love to hear doom and gloom. Let's go to the cemetery. Let's watch the horror flick. But, I don't like pushing those buttons too much because it's not good, to tell you the truth. But, yeah, as far as, what's coming up, I think we're on a hard road to the future. So the Fed interest rates, I don't know, maybe she's going to back off. I don't know, man. If I knew what the Fed was going to do, I'd be like a billionaire. But nobody knows what the Fed's going to do. But the major media is saying it was a mistake. So, and they're warning about a bunch of things in the real estate markets, the equity markets, and so maybe it's going to mean massive QA or more of an exodus from the dollar. And I can also use a little common sense here. The dollar, for over the last 30 years, has been in a downtrend. Over the last several years, though, like over the last 4 years, it's been an uptrend. But if you look back 30 years, it's in a downtrend. So if you're looking at the overall picture, we might be hitting we might have peaked out in a mini uptrend in an overall decades-long downtrend. And now we'll start seeing a downtrend in the dollar, and we'll see an uptrend in our silver and commodity prices. So that's really what I'm expecting. These damn things take longer than I freaking think a lot of times. That's one of the problems. And you got to have patience. But and that is really the deal with commodities. But if there is a more of a downtrend in real estate prices due to even this small real estate sales, which actually affects the prices due to this small rate hike, yeah, maybe that will bode really well for maybe a couple years from now, that silver might be very high and real estate prices might be very much collapsed, and maybe that'll be a good thing to do with your money, with your silver, right? Buying a hard asset on a cheap, like because even now, to give you an extreme example, during the Weimar Republic, at the height of gold, you could buy a whole city block with a 1 ounce of gold. Real estate collapsed, and it doesn't collapse forever, and it did stay like that. There was one point in time where 1 ounce of gold bought a whole city block. I wouldn't think it's going to go that extreme, but it's probably going to be a basic trend where the metal's going to be going up, and real estate's not going to do so good, and that might be your exchange, because I know a lot of people are going to be. Some people are going to hold on to silver forever. And me, I'm not going to, because I think in the extreme long term, there's a lot of carbon nanotechnology out there that can replace silver. It's not ready yet, but eventually it may. There might be better conductors than silver by far. And not that silver is going to be worth nothing, but it's going to slow down the demand unless new things come up for it. But that's just how it is. It's not necessarily going to be something, if it gets to the silver-gold ratio goes to 10 to 1, or even 16 to 1, 16 ounces of silver by 1 ounce of gold, you got to watch that ratio. That's a very good indicator when it's getting really, skewed. So, like I said, I'll probably just go into real estate, maybe log cabins or something, fill them up with hot rods or something, you know. So anyway, it's been a longer update than I expected. I kind of jumped around a little bit, but hopefully you got something out of this because I don't push the doom and gloom button, and I want to get on with more practical how-to videos, and we shall be doing some more of those for very soon, very soon.